first two slides are going to be you're going to be looking at are the ovaries. So what we have up here, it will be what you're basically looking for to identify are the different levels or the different stages of follicle maturation. And so we'll start first with the simplest one. These are your little primordial follicles. Okay, primordial follicles, remember, have the primary oocytes that are sitting in prophase 1, just in a dormant state, not doing much.
How do you usually group together?
They're actually, well, they're just showing you a few, but there's should be thousands of them.
So it's just size that says that they're primordial.
Yeah, they're very small, and we're going to compare that mostly on size to our primary. Kind of leave both on there, but so here's a primary follicle. Notice that the follicle wall starts getting a little bit thicker. The primary oocyte's a little bit larger because it's starting to go through meiosis 1, completing prophase 1, metaphase 1, and so on. Now, from that point, then, to go from the primary to the secondary, what you're going to notice is that the follicle starts producing this fluid-filled cavity. And so you'll start seeing and identifying the formation of this fluid-filled cavity called the antrum. You still have the developing oocyte in the middle. You got the thickening of the follicle wall, and you have the formation of this fluid-filled antrum that begins to form around that oocyte. Okay, this is still a primary oocyte. It's still in meiosis 1, but now in the secondary level, it's towards the end, say anaphase and telophase 1. So by the time you reach the next size follicle, that was 1. This one's bigger. This is a Graphian or mature follicle. Look at the size of the antrum now. Okay, it takes up pretty much the entire follicle. You still have thickened follicle walls, but you have this enormous antrum. And then this is your secondary oocyte, because it's beginning. It has begun meiosis 2. So at this stage, it's probably prophase 2. When you look at your Graphian follicle, I also want you to notice around the secondary oocyte a couple of things, and you'll notice these in the book as well. You have another kind of a secondary set of cells, these specialized follicle cells that are they're being called the corona radiata. And then you see this little space right here around the oocyte. That's your septum pellucid. Okay, it'll become more apparent as the cell gets fertilized, but these are two little structures that you can see outside of our secondary oocyte. So really, for identification purposes, you want to be able to identify your different follicles and then understand some of the structures of the follicles, what's going on with the oocyte at each stage of follicle maturation as well. I know that's kind of where we left off in lecture today, but you should be filling in. Okay, we talked about the maturation of the oocytes, and now you've got to take that along with the maturation of your follicle as well. Okay, so look at the slide of the mature follicle. You should be able to identify all the different stages on that slide. So that's your first slide.